chain in the age of data and disruption. So the purpose of these webinars are to sensitize people to know and value the importance of plant breeding, and also to create an awareness on various aspects like technology integration, policy support, regulatory overview, farmers' comprehensions, and various other aspects required for inclusive development of crop improvement. Foundation for Advanced Training in Plant Breeding is a non-profit organization dedicated for capacity building in agriculture, particularly in the field of plant breeding. ATPBR, with its global reach and collaborative platform, foster the personal and institutional capabilities in alignment with current and future agriculture needs. So far, we have organized 8 conferences, 34 professional trainings, and 48 webinars. We managed to reach more than 20,000 students and professionals across the agrarian community, and we have published 10 books, including our flagship publication, Market-Driven Plant Breeding for Practicing Breeder, published with Springer. We have trained professionals not only from India, but across the world, including Italy, Spain, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Afghanistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Vietnam, and many, many more other countries. Additionally, ATPBR has 12A ATG and CSR certification, making us eligible to execute CSR project as well. Now, I would like to take a privilege to introduce our moderator, Dr. Nanda Kumar, Managing Director, Konvene Agritech Solution. He has expertise in seed industry, in testing and quality, plant breeding management, product development, seed supply chain, along with experience in sales, operation, and business management. He has held key leadership role in Syngenta, Krishidan Seeds, Vibha Seeds, Adventa India, overseeing seed production, quality assurance, international business, hybrid crop development across India and East Africa. It's a privilege and honor to have you with us, sir. I request Nanda Kumar, sir, to please take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for providing me this opportunity, and a very esteemed one. And today I would take the topic through with Raja. I would call him Raja Vadlamani. We work together and almost more than a decade. And we have been colleagues in the industry. And it's a very nice feeling to share the same platform with a colleague who is very vibrant and with a lot of 40 years of experience behind him, and more than 18 years in one company where he is now in Seedworks, in a very responsible position of managing supply chain. I would rather call him Raja to be more, not to be more very formal. So the Raja have been very techno-savvy from the beginning, as I know. From 1997 only, he had sort of intervened into ERP systems for the first time in Adventa in supply chain. And from then onwards, his pursuit in supply chain as such, and his vigorous approach into various new applications of today's technology is a journey by itself. And when we were discussing about how today's topic would be going on, he said that it's sharing of a sort of journey where he has gone through from where he started and where he is today, and the journey along with the technology and its adaptation or application in the seed supply chain throughout the seed from the origin to the consumer. So there would be a lot of interesting aspects to hear from him, mainly with regard to the base, the broad base of technology on which he would be sharing his experiences or learning experiences. And I also want to bring to the attention of all the viewers and the listeners today that the topic itself, if you see you read it very carefully, has got all the key words there. So the topic itself is full of keywords, and each keyword would be a topic by itself if you take it up. And I know for certain, and with the talent and commitment of Raja, he would be concising the entire the keywords, addressing the keywords and delivering it to us. And with this, I welcome Raja Vadlamani to share his experiences and journey with all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Is he there? I can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has come.
Yeah. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good morning, one and all. And thank you, Dr. Aparna and Dr. Nanda Kumarji, for your nice introduction, first of all. And, I feel, many of the participants are truly veterans to me. Actually, they are nice. Many of them I admire. And also, some are my earlier leaders, of course, including Nanda Kumarji, and also some of the colleagues, actually, and then pretty veterans all over, actually. And I'm glad today for this. So then, again, this topic, actually, before going, actually, I'm going to take you through a presentation, of course. Then it talks about my journey, because, and one disclaimer is all about, I'm not an academician, I'm not a digital expert, I'm not a data scientist. So I started my journey as a pure science agricultural graduate. But in the journey, how actually embraced the technologies at various stages of my life to solve my problems. Actually, what I am doing is about identifying the right problems to get the right solutions by collaborating with the rest of the stakeholders. So while my digital journey started way back, as Nanda Kumarji was rightly mentioning about, way back in 90s, fundamentally. So this all actually there is a story around, actually, because when I always say about my 40 years experience in the seed industry, especially in the supply chains, 40 years ago, perhaps, mobile itself was a wow. Even telephone itself was a wow, right? Okay. So from those days, actually, even if you have to communicate, is like a telegram, even if it was a hassle, right? You connecting to the leadership or anywhere, actually, by how we communicate, and all was a very different. Actually, many of these generations, they don't know about how we used to communicate and all, right? Okay. Fundamentally, there was nothing like the data and then understanding the patterns, nothing like that, right? Okay. But the things change with the evolution of the technology, right? Okay. Now, having said that, in the last 18 years of my journey, then when I joined Seedworks was a very short entity at that point of time. Now is a unicorn. So many of the things we did differently, right? Okay. Then how at every stage, then we embraced our technology, and then how we reap the benefits, actually, right? Okay. This is what is going to be the story around all today. And having said that, always in this long journey, we always experience many failures and success. And I'm not a person who always reaps the success, many failures too. But always I saw these failures as a learning experience. So I also talk about some of the failures, where we failed, actually, and then how again we realigned ourselves, rescoped ourselves. So this also I'm going to talk about. So mostly this session is all about my practical journey and then practical case studies, actually, which I'm going to talk about, which perhaps the firm may take benefit out of it, actually, in designing their own digital journeys, and then how they can use the data around, actually, right? Okay. And one more thing, even this journey is not actually, if I don't mention about it's unfair, actually, because I have always had one person alongside me in my digital journey. That is one Mr. Vijay. And for the last 18 years, and then Vijay, say hello.
Yeah, hi.
So see, any vision without action is an hallucination. When I had a vision, always he came up with an action so that all our visions are actually materialized. This fundamentally is all about. So now I will start sharing my presentation so that we can talk more on that. Share.
I would take this small space. I think, Raja, when we are going to the presentations, I think we go through the presentations. And once the presentation is done, then can we open the house for a Q&A or sharing their experiences? Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sir. And then is my presentation visible clearly?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And then, yeah. So, before actually I take you to my core of the today's subject, right? Okay, just, I want to give a brief introduction about the Seedworks where I've been working for the last 18 years, where I'm currently working as the president of supply chain. So we started with a vision actually so far, actually then what we made actually, the progress is something which we are very proud of for that matter actually, right? Okay. And almost as of now, we have a 25 years of legacy and we are a pure seed company and dealing in core crops and with our footsteps in the Philippines and also of late in Africa. And of course, India in rice, we are the largest, and also we are in the cotton, we are making our dent, felt, right? Okay. And with this thing actually, so we always believed actually then, what while we do our business, actually, we need to be very responsive in terms of what we do, right? Okay. We are rooted with responsibility and also we look our growth is done ethically and responsibly. These are the certain things, we actually drive our mission accordingly, right? Okay. So now currently we are touching more than 7+ millions of farmers, and then we are more than around 600 crore turnover company as of now. So then every product, what we design is unique in terms of its value to the farmers and farmers. And also similarly, it's unique in the supply chain space too, and ensuring they are producible and then give all the win-win situation for all our stakeholders fundamentally, right? Okay. So then again having said that, while we are doing our production, always we look into how responsible are we to the environment too. That's what, 1 or 2 slides I will talk around. At the same time, how we are ensuring our resources are optimized. And this is all going to be the story around. Then, so this is all about pillars, right? Okay, we are not actually left to be, whatever the new technology comes, we are the first to engage with them, whether the startups, we actually engage with many of the startups. And then, and of course, we will experiment actually, whether we get success or not, we always experiment with them and then see, then, then adapt, then, start, then scale it up. These are the many things what we do. Right, okay. And again, our ESGs are indispensable in all our activities. At the same time, digitalization is also indispensable in our activities. So that's how, as a philosophy, we embrace it. And synergizing all actually about our mission statement, actually bringing into these are the different pillars, what we call actually, which we holistically address. Now, why seed is so important actually in the current context, first of all. Now, while there are veterans around, actually, I need not to tell about the importance of the seed. If someone is in the non-seed, it's very, very important in the sense that seed is one input. I always consider as the major contributor, what we call it as the total factor. And then 60% of actually the seed is good, actually the fertilizers and pesticides, whatever we add on, actually they complement fundamentally. The seed itself is not right. And perhaps, right, okay, the crop may not give the desired yields fundamentally. Why seed is important for without seed, there's no agriculture fundamentally, the right seeds. So now we are all aware that, the population is increasing, and then how we are going to, what is going to be after some time, right, okay. So then, but our land is fixed and then scarce. Like unless and until that we improve our productivities, perhaps we may not be in a position to feed our billions of population, right? Okay. So any technologies may evolve, but with just technology, we can't do anything. Just fundamentally, you have to right seed, you have the right seed, and then improved genetics year by year, and which gives the productivity to address these masses actually, which we are going to expect by 2050. So that's the reason seed is a very critical input. That's what we consider. So, and we are proud that we are that business seed actually improving genetics like year by year to feed the entire globe. Right? Okay, that's one of the every seed company should need to be proud of. Right? Okay. Yeah. So now actually the topic itself is about what is this beyond actually, right? Okay. While okay, there is the breeding, actually they are designing the products with an embedded superior genetics and all. Supply chain is all about how to carry forward these genetics at scale. And that's what is the main role of a supply chain fundamentally, right? Okay. And every seed what we produce it carries a lot of data, first of all. And every seed produced is with so many decisions. And there are many dependencies. So while earlier it was different, now there is a mechanism then how we capture all those things. So that's why actually I have taken this as before taking the journey to data, then how we are actually perceiving actually, right? Okay. So now then, so typically earlier it was like more a transactional chain, but now how do we make it a transformational one is all about the essence, right? Okay, and how then we are going to fuel the resilience and responsibility with all these things. So now supply chain is not just a logistic, then supplying the say end of distribution or the packing processing. It's much beyond actually, right? Okay, and very critical in ensuring the food security, resilience, and sustainability. So let me give a very simple. What it looks like the traditional seed supply chain, right? Okay, so from a breeder, then there's a foundation, there is actually the TLR, the certified processing, quality control, distribution, farmer, etc., right? Okay. So in this chain, what about it's not like an assembly line, right? Okay, in a factory that we put an X quantity of raw seed and derive a Y output, because it's a very complex supply chain is very complex in agriculture, fundamentally, right? Okay, because these are all highly seasonal. These are dependent on the genetics and dependent on the weather sensitive. So then there is again important criteria is about quality. A seed without quality is a grain. So the quality is also very important how we ensure actually, right? Okay, and the yield is a derivative of its microenvironment and then its interaction with the genetics, right? So these are the many complexities will come into when we are doing that, right? Okay, there are many stakeholders from the breeders to the ultimate regulator, distributors, packers. So many are actually involved in the entire chain, right? Okay. So fundamentally, all these things were also happening 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and also happening now. But earlier it was all about intuition based and actually with a limited real-time data, right? Okay. So then now the new chains are supposed to be from a linear to intelligent, and now the goal is all about making it resilient, right? Okay. Yeah. So when I'm going to take, I told about how actually I'm going to take about some of the problems, actually the practical cases and how we are going to problem solve. Actually, what we do, Seedworks, right, fundamentally. So seed supply chains actually operate in a very terrific uncertainty, right? Okay. Even researchers also work in uncertainty, right? Okay. The breeding cycle itself for a product to develop, it takes around 5 to 6 years or 7 years maybe. And after that, 1 or 2 years in the supply chain, by the time it reached the final customer, it's actually a breeding program starts after 7 to 8 years. But there's uncertain whether at that point of time the customer really would like this product or not. Again, some uncertainty out, right? Okay. Now, while after coming from the breeders to the supply chains have to produce a parent seed, and after that hybrid seed production and also a commercial seed. Actually, it's a 2-year process, right? Okay. When I'm producing my parent seed, I'm uncertain after 2 years, really this product will, what demand this product will have. Okay. When I'm producing a year before, and again I'm uncertain whether it is sold or not, whether this thing, right? Okay, this is again uncertainty. But till we have to take a decision in those uncertainties, right? Okay, this is the complexity of the planning what we have, right? Okay. Not only us, for any seed company we have. So currently what is happening is about all the intuitions, then generally it drive, last year I sold 100 tons, next year I will be 10% with 110 and all. It's all about, again, intuition based. Then how we actually correlate and then make it more a scientific. That's what I'm going to talk about in this case study, right? Okay. So this is a simple glimpse of, how this uncertainty, is embedded in this entire chain, because your time is also very critical for us, because the narrow, by the time the seed comes in, it has to immediately go to the markets. So we also work with the short listing, and also that its shelf life is very low. Then it's also important that how the inventory losses, and also we have to factor. So these are many uncertainties. If we produce more, then inventory kills the companies. In fact, it write off burdens and all. If you produce less, it's a loss of opportunity cost, right? Okay. So these are the things. Then how to get, it's like a rope walk for the supply chains. Having the right forecast and right planning in place is very important. So that's what actually this problem I'm going to discuss now. So now let me again go back to the traditional challenges. There was a lack of integration, real-time visibility, then over-reliance on the manual data, and which actually currently, which will overcome that, right? Okay. The climate variability anyhow, then and now also in future, we'll have that. We have to face that. Then inventory and processing inefficiencies can be overcome with the technologies, and the limited traceability, and also the earlier challenge. But now with traceability has become a very norm, and also every company is also practicing that traceability at this moment of time. So these are the pain points that have actually made these seed supply chains earlier more fragile, and now often they were reactive. Then how we actually build a proactive supply chain is all about our new concepts, right? Okay. So now what is the importance of this data? Data links actually productivity with the sustainability. That's how we are actually seeing data as our core pillar in our ecosystems, right? Okay. And we call our resilient operations rely on the predictive intelligence, and responsible operations rely on our transparent intelligence. So the practice is what we do transparently with all the stakeholders is what we call as our transparent intelligence, and all our predictive models and then planning and all about our predictive intelligence. So estimating the demands and then estimating the production, and then also our supplies and all that, right? Okay. So then we are trying to create a very circular adaptive learning supply chains, right? Okay. So now the age of the data disruptions, right? Okay. Now there is a lot of explosion of the data actually, which earlier it was not there. But this is what we could see from. In fact, even my journey also started from 2014, which I am going to. The next slides will talk about that and how actually we realized around the importance of the data. Now there is an abundance of data from whatever actually even you see satellites and the drones, and then so many things like in the mobile applications in the real time. Then integration, all the data. So when we have a lot of data, the data also gives some patterns, right? Okay. Then how actually we understand those patterns, what data is conveying to us, is very important, right? When we have awareness in millions and millions of data points, for example, in one rice field, for a 4 to 5 months of its crop duration in the supply chain, I collect roughly around 200 data on 200 attributes. When I'm doing production somewhere in 20,000 acres, millions of data points from 2014 onwards, I have millions of data points conveying certain patterns. How to understand those patterns? Then there comes the technology. Then earlier, actually, I remember 30, 40, simply statistics was about a simple mean, mode, and about. So then, so the simple techniques what we learned. But now of the latest, many latest technologies, say ML models have come up, right? Okay, which our data set is always working on those models and refining, and then how to make informative actually decisions from these data what we have collected in the millions in the supply chain space, right? Okay. So now the disruption drivers actually will always continue. This is the climate change, and of course the market and logistics shocks, and also policy shifts. And these are the disruptive drivers which always prevail. Then how we adapt ourselves to the disruptions are the key aspects of our embracing the technologies. Now what we call is the data is the new soil and disruption is the new climate, which every company we should be prepared for that. So now I was talking about from intuition to the intelligence, right? Okay. Now, so earlier it was about simple averages, we used to take for the past, okay, this much, three years back it was around 600 kg, last year it was around 450, this year around 400. Simply we used to add, divide, and then take a simple mean, right? Okay, that was the way. So that what actually the result is all about, many times we are overestimating or underestimating fundamentally, right? Okay. So these are the inefficiencies, right? Okay. But actually at that point of time, we were not considering various variables actually, and which are actually driving the output, right? Okay. So then actually we started this I'm going to explain simple last 4 years data, then how we make it actually fair to our the ML models, right? Okay, fundamentally, and then we derive actually our planning is always about using the latest regression models and then feeding into our ML models, right? Okay, and the machines actually make a forecast, right? It's not that human, like with our intuition what we make a productivity. So it is different, right? Okay. See, because when I call about these variables, when a seed plot actually is yielding around 600 kg or 700 kg or 800 kg, every farmer is different. While input is the same, outputs are always different. The input-output ratio is always different from farmer to farmer. Here, what is happening is that each farmer himself is a variable. His land itself is a variable. The practices are variables. The microclimate is a variable. So even I can minutely say the sowing dates may be variables, the transplanting dates may be variables, the tillers may be a variable, and then synchronization may be a variable. So these are all the various variables actually, which are actually contributing to a particular output, right? Okay. Now understanding those variables, which variable is influencing that output, is all about this ML models are doing, right? Okay, simply. So fundamentally, while I was doing a very simple mean those days, while my error in the planning was around 24%, by using ML models actually, right, my error has reduced to around 9%, right? Okay. That's how actually the improvisation what we got by using these ML models, right? Okay. So before going further, I want to take an example, right? Okay, the bullwhip effect, actually, right? Okay, disrupted supply chain. It's a concept, actually. So this concept, in a very, very simple terms, right? Okay, how actually my next year sales forecast is done, right? Let us take an example. So there are sales representatives in the markets. So they go to the dealer. So dealers say, okay, I sell 10. The last year he sold 10 units. Then what he says that, okay, last time I sold 10. Okay, the next year I will sell around 12 or 13, right? Okay. Then what happens is the sales rep will take it as the buffer around 3-4, and then you will take it as a 15 or 20 units, right? Okay. Then it goes to the regional manager. He takes, no, come on, let me have some buffer and let me drive my people sell more. He will make it to 30. Then 30 comes to the national sales head. He will make it 50, right? Okay, because of various this thing. Okay, let me drive that more active sales. So finally, it comes to supply chain. Actually, while the real demand is around 10 or 15 units, actually the forecast comes to the supply chain is around 50, but real demand is only around 10 to 12, right? Okay. Fundamentally, this is how the communication on a very intuition based, in a guesswork actually percolates, to the different this thing. So then we end up in producing more than the actual requirement, right? Okay. And at times, many times it will be underestimated also happen similar way. So now when we have a data about those dealers' potential, if the dealer has a pattern, actually last 5 years, he has been my dealer and he has been selling some 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. A simple ML or a regression model can tell what maximum he can sell the next year. If you collect all those figures, you will have a realistic demand estimate, right? Okay. That you are intervening instead of human interventions, then we simply actually then estimate, right? Okay. For example, even if you take outside of an agriculture, like even if you take an Uber or an Ola, actually also, this A and ML models will estimate the demand, right? Okay, and they have patterns in whichever the peak requirement is there. So in whichever there's a lean. So then, they accordingly, the machines will advise the drivers to be where they should be ready all around, actually, right? Okay. This is some of the beauty of the technology is offering these days, right? Okay. So this is all about bullwhip effect. Then, similarly in the supply chain production also, same thing happens. The field team actually take one average based on their guesswork, and finally something else will come actually. Then how to crack it? Just reducing the human intervention and understanding the patterns, making decisions on the patterns, and then you arrive at the right productivity, and then then embed it in your planning process of the national level, right? Okay, wherein you can avoid all the inefficiencies, right? Okay. So this is what I mean to explain about this bullwhip effect in case of disrupted supply chains, right? Okay, yeah. Now this is something like what we typically do actually. When I was telling about there's the data like in the field. In the field actually we have a 200 attributes from each field we actually acquire, and there are millions of data points actually. Each farmer data I have actually, each farmer field data I have actually. Similar way I have data about mainly all like dealers, distributors, the entire thing. So when we have this abundance of data, it's not very easy that you do in a Excel sheet or a very simply or manually you do all that, right? Okay, wherein we use these statistical technologies, right? Okay. And generally, we data scientists typically use this data actually by cleaning that and then also putting into different models and then see the error percentages and all. They standardize a model for a particular activity, right? Okay. So in our case, actually, we did actually a lot of analysis with the help of a data scientist. Then these are actually the right side. They are showing these models actually. So then. The machine learning model is about gradient boost actually, or this random foresting actually. So here actually we observe the patterns. If my productivity is 800 kgs at the back end, then what are the variables that are actually contributing to that 800, right? Okay. And also we know for 600, what are the attributes that are contributing to that 600 kgs, right? Okay. So many a times we can't change the pattern of a farmer or a village, the behaviors, right? Okay, but at least we can understand that what can be my yield actually in that particular farmer if I have to continue, right? Okay, I may not expect my 800 kg with everyone, but still, I will be knowing actually based on the past farmers' patterns, what could be my next outcome of my productivity, my supply status, so that we can forward inform our sales teams that this much material is coming for your sales next year. From an experience-based institution to now the data-driven intelligence, that's what I'm going to talk about, which we are actually practicing at this moment of time, right? Okay. So then outcome is always greater efficiency, which we witnessed all these years. Then less certain, we are actually mostly we are certain actually instead of whatever the weather aberrations and all. And one more case is all about. We had one product actually which was actually typically yielding low. Right? When we analyzed, then actually with the thermal, the temperatures and all, so it had certain heat sensitivity. Then whenever those fields are actually flowering and then getting to harvest in the month of April, May, they are yielding less, right? Okay. So while we cannot change that weather patterns, when we understood the weather patterns, we actually advanced its slowing period by 1 month. So thereby we increase productivity, right? Very, very simple, adapting the principle, right? Okay, the climate, here something which we can't change again, just how to adapt and immune ourselves and get the best out of it. That's what the strategy actually, which actually a decision through our data and then machine learning models we could able to practice. And then some of our products actually we decide, on that, based on that, what should be the right time of sowing, and then all that, is a bit derived out of it, right? Okay, yeah. So now building resilience and used to supply chain design. Resilience is the ability to now actually, this is very simple as I was talking about, how we anticipate, how we absorb, and how adapt disruptions. So then the pillars actually what we typically embracing for the resilience is about diversification. I know when my product has certain limitations in one geography, so then always look for 4-5 geographies where we expand. We have it. So where I always call it as the climate analogs. Then identifying those climate analogs and then developing those actually as an air risk mitigation or so that I can always supply to the quantities that required by the company always, right? Okay, and then so predictive planning is something which, and the scenario simulation is the what ifs, right? Okay, models which we are actually doing, right? Okay. So now when I do a plan, So then we always run a what if more scenarios, right? Okay, what can go wrong? So again, through a technology-driven simulations. So these are the real-time monitoring anyhow I'm going to talk about in my mobile applications and all that, right? Okay. Now, as I told, it's always ethicality is very important, the ethics in action. So responsible supply chains protect not only the company, but also the farmers, and also we are responsible for our customers. So then we also ensure their privacy and also their data safety. And of course, and then in terms of payments, fairness, and then sustainability, anyhow, I'm going to talk about. Then of course, traceability is maintained from end to end, from the breeder seed till the customer. We have a robust traceability mechanism. And of course, we always see that we are actually meeting the rules of the law of the land, right? Okay. Now, then I have actually trying to know what can be as the supply chains are actually changing. So then from production to intelligence, from seed supply chains, how they transform the waveform from now on. Now the operate, what we are seeing is all about AI. So AI in every record, that's what I say, the first shift is going to happen. Then sustainability is something which industry has to adapt. So green is the new growth, and then resilience beyond yield, right? Okay, diversified sourcing, risk modeling, and all things we have to do. New skills. Now earlier, simply I did my BS agriculture. No, not sufficient actually. No, I should know about sustainability. I should know what are the technology I can embrace, to do better my job, right? Okay, all these skills are now very integral, and then one has to cultivate. So then from operations to orchestration, these are the how transformation. That's what's going to be. It's not about just growing more, it's about knowing more, predicting more, and sustaining more. So the secret of changes is one of the quote which I took is just to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new, right? Okay. In fact, my journey is all about, I didn't stick to the old things. Actually, I was doing like that only, and always think is a better way to do differently, right? Okay. It's always a attitude we built in. So that's what actually a message from this quote. Now, what if I don't do all that? So I have a 30% planning error, my costs are different, cost increase X to Y, but finally, so gross margins are very important for the business sustainability. So then there are loss in volumes in either side, either excess is not good or the low is also not good, right? Okay. So now with AI coming, actually many of the white collar jobs are going to replace actually. So then how we use AI and for the routine tasks actually, and then of course people have to actually be capable of using AI for a better decision making and a better insights. So now AI is also going to give a better insights than a human. That I'm going to talk about that too. Now, sustainability, again, I was talking about every company has to enable the sustainability in the supply chains, and then climate resilience, low carbon operations. In fact, the carbon operations, what we are doing also actually is not just a talk, actually what we are walking around is also I'm going to tell about the next slide. So resource circularity and then farmer livelihoods, and these are all the pillars we are actually addressing around, right? Okay. Now, so I'm going to talk about one small example about how we are working on our on sustainability, right? Okay, this is a very simple classic case. See, rice is something which emits methane emissions, right? Okay, methane emissions. Now we took a ambitious target of reducing our methane emissions, right? Okay. We did some experiments, with some of the biologicals actually last 2-3 years, and then we could identify one biological which can reduce 50% of the methane. Now we are at adapting at scale, right? Okay, all my acres that I do rice seed production roughly around 20,000 acres. So I'm using these biological. And also then we are collaborating with Verra so that, they measure the emissions reductions, and also farmers also get benefit out of that through some carbon credits, right? Okay. This is the model actually we are actually working on. So the results were actually very good actually with one of my my earlier actually experiments with 2 years with the biological supplier. So wherein we could witness around 64% actually. So reduction actually in terms of the methane emissions, right? Okay. Then this some of our methane, how we are measuring our methane actually in our fields actually. So this is our sustainability. There is only one. Actually, I'm not taking all the examples of my sustainability journey. One case study which I'm currently doing. That's what I wanted to highlight actually. Now, when I talk about my data acquisition, how I use ML and all, fundamentally is all possible because of a digital transformation. That is a must for any company for that to get a data and analyze it. So my digital transformation is all about all vertical side planning. So many aspects of digital transformation initiatives we have taken. And demystifying technology in the seed supply chain, what I mean is that some 20 years ago or 30 years ago, simply using an email or simply using an Excel sheet and then making a filtration, making a small analysis on the Excel sheet was only digitalization, but now it's not so actually. Then how you get a real-time insights, right? Okay. So for example, if I take a case of a Uber, if a customer books a cab, if someone actually take it, download an Excel and then again connect to a customer or a driver, then it's not possible reality. So here, what about the real time? The moment a customer indents, immediately reflects to the driver, and also the cab comes within 10 minutes. Right? Okay, fundamentally it's like this. See, even the seed supply chains, when what I am doing is all about ERP enabled. What is the stock available? Even if say last mile, sales rep also will know what is my stock, what is my target, how much I achieved, how much is my pending, what is that happening, then currently what is my status. Everything is available on his mobile. That's what is the real-time insights. Similarly, in the supply chain also, when the data is inputted from the fields, actually what is happening in this particular area, where is he heading to, right? In terms of is targeted yields or whatever it may be, right? Okay, what are the mitigation he has to take? Or real-time insights are being given actually. This is what the new age visualization. So this is what I mean to convey in this slide, right? Okay. So let me talk about my digital journey. So my first actually digital journey with the mobile applications of the data capture from the field. So in 2014, actually we named our mobile application as Siddhi, right? Okay, and then so there actually we identified around 200 attributes from the soaking to harvest. So from around 6 to 7, critical inspection. Then we used to collect the data, right? Okay. Then immediately, then we also integrate it to our ERP system. The real time data is coming to all this thing. But at that point, we were not sure how we use this data, right? Okay. So simply just acquire the data. That was the only mode at that point of time. And again, mobiles were not so great at that point of time, and then connectivity was poor. Still, we tried our attempt. But at that point of time, hardly we were getting data around 40 to 50% of the data we used to acquire. But still we were happy, although we're not getting 100%, but this was like initial attempt. Whatever we get, that was good, right? Okay, that's what actually was philosophy at that point. Then we knew at that point when the ecosystem evolved, then we would be in a position to acquire my 100% data, right? Okay. So then early challenges and learnings, actually, then it gave us some learnings, right? Okay, that true adaptation depends not just on the technology, but on the capacity building, behavioral change, and ecosystem readiness. So while we started in 2014, the ecosystem was not ready. The infrastructure was not so robust. But still the attempt we made actually, right? The purpose was actually to get the data. Then what to do with the data was the different, problem. But finally, first to get the data, that was the object what we drove. So then early challenges, again, the smartphones were not reachable, they are expensive and also not working at the point of time. So patchy internet connectivity, these are the challenges actually. But actually then, so early digital transformation begins in a low acceptance phase. That was a fact actually, which we accepted at that point of time, right? Okay. Then after that, changed. 2017 onwards, the digital landscape changed. So when it changed, we started getting abandoned. That I think my digital capture from the every field was almost roughly more than 80% of the data I was getting actually, right? Okay. So of course, still some problems of the synchronization of the data with the ERP systems and how to use the data we are in a very early stages of using those data. So then at one point after that, then there was a migration to SAP, what we did. So then, these were the applications which were developed in 2014. We didn't upgrade those applications. Then actually it resulted in a technology fatigue at the time, and then integration gaps it arised for us. So then, so when alignment and ownership was even the most robust technology, this become obsolete actually, right? Okay. So here we failed actually in terms of its integration to SAP. So while, by the time we were ready with our ML models and how to use the data and the cost patterns of the cost data of the Siddhi that being collected, after the SAP coming in, where we failed to integrate this mobile application. So then there was a need for us to realign or rescope our interventions, right? Okay. So then these were some strategic reflections from that failure actually. So then we also always saw it as a project actually, right? Okay, no, it's actually should be like is a part of the DNA, right? It's a must, and then that should be considered that way. So then actually as I told, we have rescoped ourselves at very modern AI-enabled the mobile platforms that that's what we brought in at this moment of time. So actually before I start about talking about some bit later, and I rather ask my colleague the next 3 to 4 slides and explain about some of the architectures in this journey. That's what he was instrumental in building, actually making our supply chain little more easier for us, for that rate. And okay, and over to Vijay. Just he's with me. Just Vijay,
Yeah.
carry on.
Hi all. Good morning.
Welcome.
So yeah. Thanks for giving this opportunity, Raja sir. And I just want to take up, Raja sir has explained about how, the technology is important, planning is important, what all the technologies we embraced in the organization and all. So coming to the track and trace, which is very important in the seed industry. So particularly when it comes to parent seed. So, parent seed is an intellectual property for seed organization. So since from beginning of seed, receiving from breeder seed, till we ship, either you are multiplying for the seed, or you are multiplying even your own field, or even your research fields, or even farmer fields, and sending the parent seed to produce hybrid seed production in a larger scale and all. So we have implemented. So we identified a technology called QR code, which is a 2D technology. So we implemented from end-to-end operations, majorly receiving seed from breeder seed till we ship all the activities. Like if you see, so normally parent seed is receives from the R&D, as I said. So there are multiple activities which actually happens: receiving, putting into the right storage, whether it is in cold storage or you are in own godowns, and doing multiple processing activities. Every stage, this application track and trace. It generates a QR code and it monitors all these things. So you're seeing the on screen like the receiving, production, and multiple each functionalities which are there here. So yeah, coming to the technology which in the application which Raja sir spoke about, the SAP ERP. So we used to 2014 we have implemented one ERP called, which is locally developed Hyderabad based application, which is integrator module again. So we implemented later, organizations growing, operations are increasing. The application was not supporting all these things. So then we thought, why don't we move into the new technology which is standard across globally. So we decided to move it with the SAP. And when it comes to SAP, so the major impact, because Raj sir was discussing about the planning, the integrating with the multiple applications, data analytics and all. Major important in any ERP or which applications you are implementing. So the important thing is the master data. So master data may be your products, your material, your organizers or your farmers or your village, the which village, because he was Rajesh was talking about planning, in which village is really the yield is giving based on the historical data which we predictive analytics and all. So the master data is very crucial. So when you are integrating with multiple applications, so the master data is very important. Then coming to the production planning, so each activity what we perform, so like it's a production planning. So the how we are planning, as he already spoke about the planning. So the models are suggesting this particular village or these locations are very high yield locations where this in particular window is suitable for this particular hybrid and all. So based on that, we are punching the production planning, then further activities, receiving breeder seed, and creating a multiple production orders, either for parent seed productions or for packing, and multiplying pre-basic seed, then basic seed production, and hybrid seed production and all. So these are the different transactions which very important in each individual, particularly in the production planning and supply chain. Coming to the and we spoke about mainly about the transaction. What about the quality? So each individual stage quality management is also very important. So receiving from breeder seed till we ship, till we sell the hybrid seed into the market. So every stage, quality is must and should generate a samples. So that way we have integrated all these things, and generating a quality sample, receiving at the time of GR into the plant. Then when you are performing multiple production activities, processing activities, and generate a samples, and you do perform a test based on the results entry, and quality team takes a control on each individual lot, and they releases and move into further activities. So track and trace, when I was saying parent seed activities, as I was saying, end-to-end activities, so receiving from breeder seed till we ship, and after shipping to the production locations, then how we are using the 2D QR code and all each individual steps which are captured, and tracking those, and even at the quality level. In SAP itself, SAP S/4HANA, which we implemented in the SAP itself, we have capturing all these activities, and they are using barcode mechanism, and to enter the receiving samples, tracking the samples and all these things. When it comes to quality, then sales and distribution is very important. So every pouch at the primary level, we are attaching the barcode, which is even compliance need to follow every organization, and generating a secondary labels and tertiary labels. If it is a vegetable, primary, secondary, and tertiary. If it is a field crops, primary and secondary. So at the multiple stages, we are generating a barcodes, and the barcode mechanism we are using even for shipping directly to the customers, or even our C&F stock points are multiple. Then after this, what? So even when farmer purchases the seed, so it's very important that whether he purchased the genuine seed or not. Based on the scanning, he will identify that, oh yes, I purchased the genuine seed. So even at this level, so it's a track and trace mechanism from end to end, which we have implemented the technology. So when it comes to Seedworks tech stack, just I want to give brief about here, legacy ERP. So which I already spoke about, 2014, we are using one ERP. Then later we are migrated to SAP ERP. There are multiple, which is on cloud, and barcode application, which is Genec. I spoke about, end-to-end application transactions, which are using for parent seed. And mobile applications, this is very important. In our organization, we are using multiple mobile applications. Either some are developed, it's progressive web applications which are using different technologies, and some are developed Android based application, and some are it's a third party SaaS based applications. So each individual application, I just want to take about here, explain about Twarit. Twarit is a one application we are using. Entire, this even extended to our customers who can place an order, and it will move further hierarchy. Like it will, if customer is placing an order, it will move into next level, like sales officer, then it move into next regional managers, then GM, then national head and financial control based on the outstanding days and credit controls mechanism. So this entire process, I mean, no dependency on anything manual. There is nothing. No over phone, no even emails or anything. every sales employee has an option where you can go and, punch an order. It is integrated with the ERP. So this way, all these applications using an API integration, so microservices which we are using and integrated with the ERP. And overall, if you see, each individual application is a different silos, deployed on different hostings. Like some are on cloud, some are on-prem, SaaS-based applications. All these applications using API, we have integrated and created a data lake. Data lake is very important because we are, since beginning of the session, we are talking about the data and analytics. So where we are actually storing this data. So we created a cloud storage data warehouse where all individual data sources we are collecting and storing on data warehouse. From there, we are analyzing and connecting each individual applications and generating a different analytical dashboards and all these things, which we call it as a Vignan. So this just I want to give a brief about so overall, all this entire technology or the applications which we implemented, as we have spoke about master data. So every master data which it's used to connect and talk with each individual applications. So it's very much important here. Coming to the edge computing. So one of the slides Rajasa was talking about the immediate real-time results mechanism, right? So nowadays, cloud computing, anyway, it is available, but still, so there are majorly like IoT devices which are available. So how these IoT devices, it should not always, go back to the original source data and, talk and get and process it, analyze it and send back the data to the IoT devices. No, it is challenge. So maybe bandwidth, latency, process, these later, many things will be there. So now there is a new technology which we call it as edge computing. So IoT device itself, select farmer, when you take a picture of any plant or any leaf, so then you need immediately to identify the system. The application need to identify and analyze it and say, oh, this particular plant or leaf might have this device, disease or anything, which it should recommend it. Nearby device, gateway device, go and, connect and, get the data. So this is what about actually the Seedworks, the technology which we embrace here. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay. And then, so now, of late, it's all about AI. Now, then we are proud to actually say that, we also embrace AI, right? Which I'm going to tell about how actually we adapted AI in our all activities fundamentally. Now, so this is one all-in-one platform actually. Mobile earlier, different. No, actually we brought everything under one mobile application of the entire data captures. And then how we are actually linking it to our AI platforms, right? Okay, this is what a simple glimpse about this slide. Now after some of the failures that what we witnessed, and then after the learnings, then we have developed what is our digital vision map, right? Okay, then to rescope ourselves, right? Okay. Now that's what last year we started actually driving our digital listing. So data drives us and AI guides us, and continuous learning empowers us to make every series of decision smarter. And where I want to meet, I want to tell you an example, right? Okay, currently what happens in any ecosystem, any company or any industry. So then functional always, so the domains always throw one problem, and then IT will solve it with one application. There will be many applications piling up in a company actually, right? Okay, and actually I call it as they are creating digital slums, right? Okay, because each application is not talking to the other. For example, even if you look at your mobile phone, you will have different, like for example, you have a Swiggy, you have a Ola, you have different applications, and actually they're all actually they don't talk one to each other, right? Okay. What would be even imagine, right? Something one unique, one application takes care of everything, right? For example, they are called the super apps, right? Okay. Now the conversion is from a digital slums to digital smart cities, right? Okay. That's what the next concept is all about. So where, let us say, right? Okay. Now a simple, classic, very practical example: in the evening around 6 o'clock, I have to go for a movie, and 4 o'clock I have to go to home. And then I don't have a car, but again, I have to have my food. And then this all actually what I have to do, I have to get into my Uber or Ola, and also I have to get into my Swiggy for my food, and also third platform for booking my movie ticket. All this, when you have one single app, right? Okay, simply you give a message that I want to go to home first, then from there to move at 6. One application can do all that. Actually, now the AI is also is about to do all that, right? Okay, this is not the new era, is all about the super apps, right? Okay, so this siloed applications will actually vanish very soon. What we see now will be totally different after 10 years with the advent of the AI, actually, right? Okay. So looking that, keeping that, the AI first enterprise, which how we are going ourselves for an AI first enterprise is all about the vision. That's what I kept in here. So then I said, actually, right, okay, AI is not about like a simple application or a simple tool that, AI is a very holistic, right, okay. So there, AI is all about designing your workflows, right, okay. There is an approach for that. First of all, AI is like a small baby. When you adapt AI in your company, it's like a small baby, right, okay. It doesn't know anything, right, okay. Then you have to train that AI to make it useful in the sense that AI is quick enough to learn, right? Okay, for example, a digital doctor, AI doctor. So generally, whenever a problem comes, we always look for a senior expert, senior doctor, right? Why? Because we believe in his experience, right? Okay. So when that experience is embedded in that AI agent, let us say here the digital doctor. So when such type of doctor's experience of 100 doctors is embedded in the agentic, the digital doctor, what will happen? Become a super agent, right? Okay, super doctor, right? Okay. So simply is all about how we embed all our experiences into that AI agent. So the AI is born the moment, and within very quickly, for example, the AI initiative, what I started, I fed the data for the last 5 years, right? What I have. So now there is 5 years rich experience, by age, and now you start giving the sessions. What will happen after 10 or 15 years? People may leave, people change, people forget, right? Okay, but AI agent will never forget, right? Okay, it quickly gives us, the input from what happened last 10 years back, and then what happening now and now. So, for example, that's what actually initiative what we took in. Actually, then there is it's always important then how you design your architecture. Architecture is not in terms of the technical architecture. It's like designing your functional architecture, right? Okay. Unless you know what you want, actually, perhaps the technology teams can't do anything, right? Okay. So the same happens with the AI also, because many people talk about AI, but how to embrace AI and how to decide your workflows, how to define your workflows, and how actually you make an architecture for designing AI is all about the new concept, at least the seed supply chains. No one is attempting at this moment of time. Then we are making our first attempt now. And also fortunately, I got an opportunity to work with some of with very, the MIT minds from based out of USA, and some of the IITians and the startup actually in the US that I'm working with them in developing our AI models and AI agents for that, right? Okay. So here actually we are trying to, the input layer is all about the knowledge base. Actually, we are going to feed all our knowledge base to the AI engine. So that becomes the base, and then it will start learning from year on year. So then, then intelligence, then AI intelligence core. I'm not going to read all these actually, right? Okay, these are the architecture we designed for our supply chain, right? Okay. So here we have also considered what are our controllables, what are our non-controllables, like fundamental environment, and then how the AI engine has to have a federated learning out of it, right? Okay, these are all things actually we have mapped actually in terms of our AI architecture, right? Okay. The conversational AI is all about the generative AI, like, okay, as of now, right? Okay. When the AI engine is all ready with this knowledge and all, and data is available, simply with a mobile, then how you get by using your chat GPT or something, a perplexity. Similarly, it's like having your own internal chat GPT sort of thing in the company. Like, okay, now 5 years back, if I go to a village, that 5 years back, I want certain farmers' productivity. Simply, I can put a prompt in my mobile and get his productivity data, right? Okay. Similarly, like, this can be extended to the field assistants and also this thing actually, he will get an advice very clearly what is the pattern of this farmer actually. The field assistant puts in there actually within a split of second actually, it gives the insights and then way forward also. This is all about my generative AI interface actually, which we are embedded in our agentic AI tool what we are developing actually at this moment of time. So this is what is a totally different, like, when we, the external world is talking about all this, a chart GPT or a perplexity, for example. So, like, even earlier, when we used to do some search, put it to Google, it throws around 20, 30 options actually where we have to select the best one. And now that problem solved by perplexity, they simply gives the right answer actually by scanning all the possibilities, right? It's simply like, creating an ease for the people so that they take better decisions. This is what actually initiative we attempted it. This was architecture. That's what we chalked out actually when we are working with those people, the AI experts, right? Okay. And also, as I told, actually, we need to give, the approach should be totally different. It's not that simply a problem. And actually, you have to give your entire gamut of operations. Then, in terms of, then it's like the 5-block approach. That's what we did for our, this thing. There's one is the input layer, controllable. That's what, again, knowledge base. There's a context layer. They're all uncontrollable. There is an intelligence core, how it correlates actually based on the past data and the current attributes, and then output layer, then the forecast, and of course conversation, what best can be done, continuously giving suggestions and recommendations based on the data, right? Okay, these are the 5-block structure. That's what we made in. Then also we call it as an Ashtang approach. Actually, the Ashtang approach is something coined by one of the experts, into AI, and Dr. Sailesh is actually from their Reliance, actually, which actually as a concept we embrace the Ashtang approach, then starting from assessment to sensing, the hypothesis training. And so this Ashtang approach, 5-block, and then architecture are very important for designing your AI architecture, supply chains, right? Okay. So then, in a very simple words, actually, then what my next generation AI, because machine learning, data, then, collection, it's all very, very complex. Finally, how to make everything simple to the end, the users, is all about the solution features. That's what we are developing. So fully about AI guiding us, in everyday activities in the supply chain for the last mile, the field assistants, also production officers, and then, managers everywhere. Actually, this is how about our solution features, right? Okay. So then always one thing is all about we believed in, right? Okay. It's not, as always there is a myth or, it's not invented here, or actually it's not my idea, right? We always look outside. Is something going outside better, then embrace it. That's fundamentally. So a lot of innovation is going outside the world. We spend some time outside, we may learn something, right? Okay. And all may not be useful, but something can be useful, right? Okay. This is what our concept about making in models into additional supply chain networks. And then that's what we believe in from the traditional linear supply chain. Then how we transform to a DSNs, right? Okay. This is all about our concept again. And the takeaway is, right, okay, the future of seed supply chain isn't about growing better seeds, it's about growing better systems also. Actually, it's what I always tell in my ecosystems and then my functions, actually, always. So what is really the resilience is, or what I mean it actually. And what I mean, data is a bridge to connect with all these things, right? Okay. So beyond field lies always our biggest opportunity. So to reimagine how every seed contributes to our smarter, fairer, and more sustainable future. All right. And thank you. This is all about a small peek into our activities, right? Okay. Yeah. This is my, coordinates. The QR code can be scanned for my coordinates, actually. Then you get my week off. So, and this, okay, let's stop sharing 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Raja. It was a wonderful journey, and going through the evolution of the information and the evolution of seed industry per se, and the operations of seed industry per se. I would like to take only 3-4 points here, maybe a couple of minutes, just to reflect on what we have perceived and what we have understood and where we are going to. Just to bring some light on the entire supply chain concept itself, It was somewhere in 1920s to 50. It was mainly restricted to shop floor and mechanization and machinery and manufacturing. And later on, the supply chain concept has started coming in various other aspects. And if you talk about in India, we started talking about the supply chain first, as I know, with my exposure to floriculture sometime in early 90s. So we were talking about cold supply chain and cold chain and supply chain aspects, where yeah, and later on, we started talking about the concept of supply chain in the Indian industry. Started somewhere around about late 90s or mid 90s. Maybe some of the multinational companies might have been using that, but in India, we started using it sometime in the mid 90s. So and as you rightly said, that it was very much restricted only to the parent seed up to the logistics. But I caught two important phrases in the beginning in your talk, talking about seed has data and the seed produced has data. Yes, seed has the data of the genetics, and seed which is produced also has data, which you talked about all the your journey through. And this is seed industry is taking a total evolution, and we are all getting into the AI era, where if you remember that we were talking about the data, factual decision making, and then data to information, because data point is a data point. It is nothing unless it is analyzed and converted into a pattern or an information. So the information, when accumulated, and it becomes a knowledge and a knowledge pool. And today we are talking about the information lake or the knowledge lake. So ultimately, what we are seeing today is AI, artificial intelligence, is a tool where we are making it happen. But and one without bringing into any sort of negative connotation, we used to hear the common language that garbage in is garbage out. So one very critical point in the data which gets into the entire process, what we discussed today or what we heard today, is the quality of data and how the quality of data is ensured using AI at every stage and using the resources properly at every stage and making it more profitable, if I want to talk in terms of commercial language, or making it useful for the end users in terms of its value, in terms of its applicability, and in terms of its reach, which was earlier, which was limited to only a few people. Now it is at the fingertips of many, and even including a farmer who is not literate, but he may be much more smarter and using smartphones and applications than us. So there is technology explosion which is going on. A lot of tools are available, and a stage has come where we may not be free from, or we can't say that we don't want this technology, we can be doing away without this. So what exactly the differential between the actual AI, artificial intelligence, and its wisdom to use it, where to use it? I think the second one may not be replaced with an AI, because what we put into AI is the human mind. So it may appear a bit philosophical, but it's a fact that how we generate the quality of the processes, systems to get all this quality data into the AI applications is important, what I feel. And it's also very heartening and very encouraging, and a lot of appreciation. I know that the entire team today is giving you a big applause for the work which has been going through from 2014 till today in Seedworks in this direction, and hope many will be learning on this. And there was one question also from Dr. Deshpande sir. I just saw it flashing. He asked whether we are over dependent on AI. So this is one of the questions which I could see that, and there are others are also 42 people are there who are watching you, and I would, with the permission of Mr. Raja and Aparna, I would open this platform for discussions, and if you have any Q&A to Raja and your contributions, please. Thank you.
So that the coming to that question on are we over dependent on AI? Actually, no. Actually we had not started first of all, because my initiative I just started. Now the question, it's not just like over dependent, but some of the routine fundamentally, when we run a regression, actually, I've been doing some of the regressions actually last 4-5 years ago also, right? Okay. It takes a lot of time, right? Okay. Coming to the data, cleaning it, then putting it into the model, then equation, and then getting the result, then comparing it and all that, right? Okay. It was actually Hercules task. Actually, at times, many times, 10 days, 15 days, we're working on the data sets, right? Okay. What happens is after the AI advent, this is all done in just 15-20 minutes, right? Okay. Here, there are two things. If you have to do by yourself, then you have to understand the skills and all that, right? Okay. With the AI tool in hands, without those skills, actually put the data, it's giving the results, right? Okay. Fundamentally, what is happening to us is that these robotic tasks, what we are doing, can be done. Like even simple, like even some of the outputs at times, we have to depend on the Python codes and all. Now, Python code you can write by yourself, right? Okay, and also nowadays even AI is doing the coding part. When you say what you want, at least give it. It's actually reducing your time so that you can focus more on construct to other works, right? Okay, instead of doing the same repeated tasks, right? Okay. So I don't say it's over dependent, but actually you want to do better and better at some point of time. You have to embrace it. Okay, it's not that it will replace you, but it complements you. That's fundamentally right. Okay, as I said, the moment either way, as a humans, we are actually like we retire, right? Okay, the positions, new people will come in actually. So what if unless and until my experience is embedded in putting actually on a digital format, so then it helps the new person to get the past experiences and also take a better call sector, right? Okay, it's not like reinventing the wheel starting from the beginning, right? Okay. So this how actually that's what I look into in terms of, while I don't think that at least in agriculture it will not replace for sure, right? Okay, still, but AI is like your a loyal assistant that will help you in terms of taking better decisions fundamentally. So at the same time you can spend more time on a focused other activities rather than doing on your analysis and the routine task actually. But I told you about my decision making. Now I am doing with a machine learning, right? Okay. Which earlier I can do an error, right? Okay, as a human, right? Okay, something do that, right? Okay, but AI can't do that, right? Okay. Now coming to other thing actually you are telling about the importance of garbage in garbage fundamentally. So what is the garbage? Actually, data cleaning is also now been enabled by AI these days, right? Okay. What is garbage also it finds out, right? Okay. So as a human, it's actually, it's a very boring talk, right? Okay. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And on a lighter vein, if there is a managerial or a management decision goes wrong, we need not have to blame the manager. We can blame the AI.
Yeah.
So it is just on a lighter vein, like
that's fundamental, right?
Because we cannot point fingers to someone else, which is to be the earlier culture. So now the AI takes care of even that. Yeah.
Yes.
We cannot pass on the buck to anybody now. It is the AI tells that you are wrong, and I have to accept that I am wrong. Yeah. Nice.
The rest
Thank you.
mitigation.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir.
May I ask a question?
Doctor, sir.
Raja ji, thank you. Nice talk. And happy to see that you are using the modern, AI into your system. Congrats for that. I have a question. You presented a slide where you said manufacturer almost goes for 4 times the actual use by the distributor.
Yeah.
Has that improved a lot now? Are you kind of now doing only 1.5 times and still managing to reach your targets with this modern technology?
Sir,
And
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Sir, yeah. Sir, complete, sir.
no, what I'm saying is, has it really helped? How did you improve that forecasting actually on ground?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I will explain that, sir, fundamentally. If I have to give a straight answer, are you really totally evolved in terms of I've got a perfection in the supply chain, right? Okay. Fundamentally, we are applying supply chain. Now coming to the dealer and sales and marketing network, what happens is always there is a resistance actually, right? Okay. While the forecast will come in actually, we will put to the model and then see. We also sensitize, right? Okay. This much can't be, right? Okay. Fundamentally, even in certain cases, we are not in a position to convince our sales and marketing teams about the benefits of it. But some of the products which we did, and also we are successful in terms of, for example, in North, actually, I got an X figure for the production, right? Okay. Then based on the model, what we said that X by 2 itself is sufficient, right? Okay. And that was true. That was true, actually. X by 2 only we produced. We didn't produce also. That actually saved our not being X. So what happens is often, this model also actually helped us in terms of, right? Okay. It forecasted, right? Okay. For a particular dealer. So in this state, these distributors, their sales returns are high. Here it is less, actually. You reduce here, then increase more and all. That advice also being given, actually. But again, it depends on the, other end, people on the ground, actually, they give some intuition, but the results always matched with our data science, right? Okay. Many cases, what we have established in our company. While are we really reaping benefits of it? Some departments, some activities, yes, and some still we are actually trying to address and improve upon.
Yeah, I see that there will be a lot of dependence on previous data. If you have 4, 5 years, 10 years data, your prediction models will become more accurate. Is that correct?
No, that's true, sir. Actually, see, it's a fundamental of the pattern. In fact, not that the case I was telling about. So there was a decline I could see in the patterns, right? Okay. In the particular dealer, some of the dealers, some of the states, some of the districts and all, there were declines, right? Okay. It was like, up and downs in the patterns, actually. When we run a model, actually, it showed a decline, right? Okay. But generally, the team always will be confident. No, come on, actually. Last year, for some reason, it was less, actually. Now it will come up and all that. But finally ended up with what data set, right? Okay. The pattern only. See, fundamentally, the intuition based, our errors are around 30-40%. Here, when we go with the data, at least, I don't say it's 100%, but at least it reduces to 10-15% of the.
Yeah. So you reduce the error. Yeah. Okay. There are few questions. Maybe we can. Dr. Nanda Kumar, I mean, there are some questions. I see. Maybe they can, if they are there, they can ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is Gagandeep Singh saying, how can small farmers benefit from tech-driven supply chains? It's a good question. How, on the other end, how does the small farmer benefit from these tech-driven supply chain?
Yeah, coming to fundamentally, see, in case of supply chain is all about, we are working on a very controlled model. Actually, the farmers are associated with us. We are partnering with them. So obviously, that farmer always gets benefit out of our this thing, because for every 100 acres, we have a person engaged actually who is actually hand-holding him fundamentally and also giving the advice right time, right practices, everything, and what is data sets and all, explaining that farmer. So to best make use of that, right? Okay. This is possible only in the supply chain because those farmers are engaged and then contractual agreements with us, and then we are hand-holding them, right? Okay. And still, it's a long way to go. In case, if you want the entire value chain ecosystem where the sales and marketing, all the farmers can really get a benefit out of it, it takes some more time actually, right? Okay. Even now, the government of India is also coming up with various, advisory and then encouraging many of the startups, and also the AI interventions, right? Okay. Every government is, designing their own AI policy. So when that comes, and farmers will be, currently the AI is restricted to something like, okay, your disease identification or a pest identification, take a picture and then send it across, then give a recommendation and all. But it will not stop. Actually, it will go much beyond and also further. So a lot of investments even government of India are doing, also the state governments are doing for the entire farmer. That's what I am telling. But as a seed company supply chain, actually we can always address and then pass on the benefits because they are closely associated with us.
Can I add to that because of the AI, you are able to tell him what to do when very quickly.
Yes.
You are not visiting the field and doing that. You are doing it based on satellite imagery and all, isn't it?
Sir, this is one.
Is that happening or?
Oh, no, it's not that. The NDVA, what actually I'm telling you, because I'm working with the Austrian company actually. This one actually, there's TEFA is also, TEFA is a collaboration, right? Okay. Which we are doing actually in our cotton actually we are doing actually. See here actually, it's not that I'm not replacing the people. The agronomist or whatever, the 100 acre person is there to give the advisory to the farmer fundamentally, right? Okay. So the satellite actually senses the NDVA, give the score to us. Actually, we know that. See, there's something issue there. Actually, what is happening is that the field station is also getting immediate input that your NDVA scores are actually different or bad actually in these formats and all. That actually, what can be, that advisor actually instantly goes to that, not the farmer, it goes to my field team with 100 acres, that person. Yeah. So he in terms then inform that farmer actually, right, okay, this is where actually you have to address. Then actually physical interaction happens with that person actually. But actually, the idea about our initiative is that extend to the farmers also, but it takes some more time for us because still we are not confident because the seed production, we can't take risk and also pass it on to the farmers and then, simply, forget, visiting him and all. Still, we don't attempt at that point of time. It's some more time. Still, we engage our people, but to enable the farmers with the insights and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? You
So there are a few more questions you like to address because it's already 12:30.
Yeah.
And if anyone interested, maybe you can raise your hand and ask your question immediately. Rather, we will be reading.
Yeah.
Is there anyone interested to ask the question? Please raise your hand. Shara sir, maybe you can.
Yeah, somebody has raised a hand. Mukesh Mohan.
Okay, sir, please.
Hi, thank you, Apna, for organizing, and Dr. Sundar Raja for the wonderful opportunity. I don't have a question, but I want to say thank you. I had been an extensive user of this AI or artificial technology for predictive breeding. Yeah, I am very happy to see that somebody is using it for production, and it's a wonderful thing. Really, it will give a lot of benefit, especially in predictions and saving on the cost and impacting the bottom line of the organization, which is very, very critical, I think, in any financial organization who is doing seed business. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Shara sir, you like to ask your question?
I don't have any question. I only wanted to appreciate what Dr. Sundar Raja has presented. It was a wonderful session, Dr. Raja. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Nanda Kumar for this. My only doubt was about, the first point of data is at the trade, as you rightly said. The forecast begins from the commitment of the trade. But with my experience, I have found that the trader never, commits any sales for the coming season. Okay, it's only the sales people, they assume something and feed it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one point. Another is, there has to be a discussion across the entire team so that they arrive at a near perfect number, rather than each position padding up the number, as you said in the beginning. that 10 will become 100 at the end, and that's the mistake. How you are avoiding it in your organization, sir?
Sir, actually, that's the biggest challenge. Actually, there's the intuition level. Actually, that is the reason. Actually, the success of this is a holistic usage and application. In fact, it's like silo. I apply it in supply chain. It's not sufficient. It's across the organization has to happen. Actually, right? Okay. Still, in India, that typically is what it is, right? Okay. When you know the patterns of the farmers or the dealer network and all, we always know what is going to sell the next year and all that. But again, still we give a, as supporting only, we will take it as, but still we go with our indents requirements from the sales and marketing fundamental, right? Okay. Because they look very nice, right? Okay. When the data says something, it may be bitter because data doesn't have emotions, right? Okay. Here the emotions also come in place, right? Okay. So that's the thing.
Okay.
I think the data will help you in correcting the forecast, because you know the pattern of each dealer.
Here, actually, what happens is that we only challenge, right? Okay. The data is saying, for example, one product in North, but the data is saying 3 lakhs maximum. How come you are giving a 6 lakhs production? That's only we can question, right? Okay. Yeah. Finally, the call is to by them, actually, okay, I want, this is my neck, right? Okay. Finally, we only sensitize that this is what I, right? Okay. What happens is that it becomes actually a knowledge base for the people. Okay, yeah, I think last 1 or 2 years they made some forecast. It's happening right. Okay, then again they start believing the data and also come in line with it. Right? That's how actually.
So far we were doing it on Excel sheets. Now it is based on apps.
Yes.
Aparna ji,
Yes,
I
sir.
think in addition to your question on carbon footprinting, there are a couple of others also who have asked the same question, and it's it's a new thing. Can you imagine a seed company or seed industry who is talking about carbon footprinting? We are not effluent generators, or we are not compared to others. So it's a very nice topic when you are talking about social responsibility or the corporate responsibility to environment. And as I was being the safety SHE, Safety, Health and Environment in charge during my period, we were not even talking about carbon footprinting, and today we are talking about carbon footprinting even in seed industry. I think this can be dealt separately, and there are a couple of questions on
I just add to that, Dr. Nanda Kumar, I'll just add to that. I think for those who have asked this carbon credit question, I request them to attend the soil nutrition for seed production. We have a seminar, 1-day seminar coming up, and I think ATPBR will put it on the social media, because this biologicals are being used, and they will talk about how can we improve the carbon credits. I think this would be a good discussion there.
Yeah.
Especially for carbon credit, Raja sir, I want to know your opinion, because we are having 1-day event in Bangalore covering this particular topic. And since you are very futuristic, applying AI extensively in your system, I just want to know your company vision on this particular aspect before we close the session.
Carbon credit system. Actually, what we are working on.
Carbon credit, yes.
Yeah, no. Actually, we are working on 2 states. We are in Karnataka and also in Odisha. Actually, we are doing this project actually. Right? Okay. And now we named this project as Seedworks Samruddhi. Right. Okay. We are doing in the paddy ecosystem, and then the Verra is going to verify. In fact, they have identified status, then put a chamber actually. Right? Okay. When I am using a biological, which is actually witnessed a reduction of 60. So they will have in each data, they will put in their chambers, right? Okay. And then there will be a field audits by Verra, right? Okay. And then, they will measure, right? Okay. There is a single drainage, and then, the reduction matrix actually. Then to do it, then after that, will be allotted certain carbon credits fundamentally, right? For that each farmer, right? Okay. So that is the model about now what we are working in the 2 states, right? Okay. We are now. And then after that, we will expand it to entire all the 4 states where we are working. Right?
Wonderful.
Yeah. We are having that carbon credit seminar, no? Where is that? November 11th in Bangalore.
So it would be
both
nice if you can
both these
delegate this.
conferences will help. One day each will help. Attend.
Is it online, sir?
No,
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 no.
it will be.
Physical.
I mean, face to face. Both are face to face. I think Aparna, you should
Send you the circular to everybody who is attending today.
send them the.
Yeah. Thank you, Raja sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Right. Now
Thank
request
you.
sir to please conclude the session.
I think it's.
Sorry. I thought that the conclusion will be done by
Yes.
Okay.
very senior people. Like, so I have opened up the session, and thank you, Aparnaji, and also I should thank Raja Vadlamani, very formally talking. To thank you so much for making us enriched with the latest technology in seed and application of AI and very useful mechanisms to make the entire seed business thrilling and more profitable using the latest technologies what you have on the tools. And we wish that we continue, and our viewers and listeners are also be interested. And would there be a chance if you are conducting a sort of a workshop under ATPBR or yourself, that would be a very nice, what do you call, a way forward to make others also fall in line and appreciate the entire thing, and together we can spread the application of all the learnings and the AIs, and this can be a separate business model as such for Seedworks. I see as an opportunity where you have knowledge and the technology, why not? It can be, and ATPBR and also Seeduber can be a platform for that. Right, Aparna, if I'm not wrong. So this can be harnessed as an opportunity for others. So, and even a commercial one. So let us see. And not prolonging, I thank everybody for this, Aparnaji and Surenji. Thank you for this opportunity. For me. Nice meeting you, Raja. We have not met for a long time other than our conference last time, but we are meeting virtually. So nice of you. Thank you so much and very best.
Everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Aparna. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the
Thank you.
session. And
Thank you.
have a nice day to all. Goodbye to all.
I say, have a nice weekend. Bye.